Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as you all know, John Swan is a liar. That's not news to anybody. There's been a more recent situation, the Dream situation. I can't go into all of it. I like making 10-minute videos. In fact, if you like this one, make sure you like it, share it, and watch it too, because I need the minutes recently because of inactivity. This has been demonetized, and I like to get it back up. And we've covered this on my podcast on the main channel, and all this other stuff. It's infuriating. John, I even recently challenged John to a debate. John put this statement. I'm only going to read one paragraph because this is more than been out there. We covered in the podcast. I've seen so many of these tweets of people saying the most outrageous stuff that clearly isn't true, and people believing it out of blind hatred. These individuals are insane and lack basic critical thinking skills. Now, this goes back to the situation without getting the kids involved. There's a 15-year-old girl, 18-year-old boy. They were talking like teenagers that were interested in each other. I think that's the easiest way I can put it. Certainly, being the father of a 14-year-old girl, wouldn't like it. But I don't know if I would attach the P word to something like this. I don't think it's fair. And John, it tries to get back his credibility in the community by exposing this wannabe influencer that doesn't really even have a big following. And it's pretty clear that that he was involved in it. The document comes out. Destiny covers it on his stream. He says, boy, this looks like they went to this girl and they kind of pushed her into it. And John is accused of writing the document. He goes on and said he had nothing to do with the document.
Were you involved in the creation of a document against Cammy?
That's a yes.
I was not directly involved.
Oh, God.
He whispers, I was not directly involved.
What does not directly involved mean?
No, I mean, I saw it.
Okay, I found the tweet from Harley. If you want to see it,
that was his opportunity to say I edited it.
Yeah,
that was it.
But he saw it.
He's a liar. Turns out he backtracks. He said he edited the document. Well, I'm here to tell you today that he essentially wrote the document. It's been all over Twitter. It's not really even a big surprise if I don't sound my usual excited self, because it just doesn't shock me at all. It doesn't. And why should it? John is a pretty sick kid. And the depths that he's willing to go to reestablish his credibility after the Dream situation, no bounds. Including telling everybody they can show checkable lies that they believe it out of blind hatred, vendettas, or they are crazy and lack critical thinking skills. By the way, John has never provided any evidence that he wasn't a part of this now famous doc. And what the doc did is the doc came out. It was supposed to outrage the community against this particular influencer. And it didn't. Because the ages, while not terribly appropriate, were not enough to lead to life ruination. So this was John's response. Aiden Projects, who has been all over John, has had enough of John, former friend, and has had enough of his lies, released this document yesterday. The details of John's involvement in the document were revealed to me in full detail as of today. It could be definitively proven that John edited the 15-year-old victim's statement with his own wording and passed it off of what he stated. The orange is John's. This is just one page. All right. So John, rewrote two paragraphs, a couple sentences, and then ditched another paragraph. And yeah, what Destiny noticed, I think, was really appropriate. That it felt like this girl was approached. They found out about the relationship with the 18-year-old boy, and her friends said, "Oh my God, you've been victimized in some way." And she's like, "I have." Well, she essentially confirmed all this. She confirmed all of it. She confirmed that she was kind of pushed into this, and she didn't really feel like a victim until she was told she was a victim. And then with some hindsight, that this thing was not exactly the way she wanted it to go. This is an issue between her parents and him. And if they want to take it any further than that, that's entirely up to there. I would certainly respect the parents in that situation. I have a 14-year-old girl myself and a 6-year-old boy. But you know how it goes. Nobody calls the cops. Nobody does the right thing. They take it to Google because they want to use it for content. They want to take it to YouTube. They want to use it for content. Serious situation, or in this case, a not so serious situation that could only not help anybody, only lead to life ruination. So you see that here, and this is apparently a screenshot of the document. As you look on the right, you can see the John that edited this. But it actually gets worse than this. If you scroll up, not only were Liz's paragraphs, as you see here, the alleged victim, not only were they edited, they were completely reworked. This is what Liz wrote in the document that was changed by John. After, it says, after this, it continued. Obviously, her heart wasn't in it. He made jokes and started to like it after I asked him if he did. He continued on and tried asking me if it was okay multiple times. He's aware of my age, by the way, so he kept asking if it was weird or not. I'd tell him I did not think it was really weird. I really didn't think much of it. A 15-year-old girl interested in an 18-year-old guy, to them, it probably wouldn't seem like such a big deal, much less the P word. As it continued on, he said that he was very, quote, hard on you. And he basically told me that he was pleasured by what I was saying to him. Okay? Again, inappropriate. This is what John took the same paragraph and made it this. Camp used me for his own sexual pleasure when I was in a vulnerable state. That wasn't even suggested. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he's doing was wrong, comparing his actions to those of the people that have been canceled in the community. He said how I made him happy. He called me cute, said I was his darling. It made me feel appreciated and loved. But all he ever wanted was sexual pleasure. And he used me to get what he wanted. I'm ashamed that I ever took part in any of it. Again, this girl never wrote this. And when she was questioned on it, said, I was kind of pushed in this. I like this guy. And if you think that's inappropriate, that's fine. I don't know that it isn't, again. But that's really between, again, with the parents. And you also can see that John, this is a complete rewrite. This isn't editing. This is like, I don't know, doing optics check for my grammar. This is, and you really got to question, I've been criticized, by the way, legitimately, for calling this guy a psycho. All right. And it was mostly an ad hom, just name calling. But I got to be honest with you, it came from a place where it felt like it was true, even though it was an ad hom. But certainly I'm not a doctor. The amount of lies this guy tells concerns me, and I do think he's a very sick kid. I think that his desire for credibility and clout and the ability to criticize other influencers as apocryphal, as dishonest, as liars. I mean, that's what he wants more than anything. That knows no bounds. He's going to get it back one way or another. And anybody's expendable. I was also told, because I actually talked to Aiden, that he tried to remove himself, I guess, from the doc and hope that these edits wouldn't show up on, what time and date that he actually partook in them. That didn't work. And Aiden told me that basically what his plan was, because remember when he was questioned by Destiny, he said that, he was aware of the doc, but he really had nothing to do with it. He was hoping by leaving this, that if anything ever came on him, that he would be able to blame the other people that were involved in the edits. The other people that are involved in the edits are 15! They're 15 years old. They're kids themselves. And yes, yeah, they're part of the problem, but they have an excuse. They're minors. The girl told him she was talking to an 18-year-old guy. They're like, oh my God, you've been victimized. We know John Swan. Disaster awaits. And, a lot of people are asking me, is this the final nail in the coffin for John? No, it's not. John's crazy. One of the things with psychopaths, at least from what I've been told, again, I'm not a doctor, and I think it's called antisocial personality disorder. They are they're not the monsters that you think they are, the knife-wielding monsters. They're just liars. And one of the traits they have is they're kind of happy-go-lucky. They also think they can do anything. I can talk my way out of this. Well, go back to when Dream made a mistake, and he said, I empathize with Dream. I can talk my way back into credibility. You have this situation. I could talk my way back into credibility. I could talk my way out of the fact that I was involved. So I could tell people as long as if I'm on message, if my messaging is correct, people will believe it, and truth be damned. And that's sick. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. That's sick. That's wild behavior. That means you have no interest in the truth whatsoever. Well, the truth matters. And I think that's what John is. It doesn't matter what's true. It matters what people think is true, or rather, in John's case, it matters what I can convince them is true. And I could do this. I could make this happen. I believe in my abilities. That's psycho. It's not the knife wielder. That's the psycho. These people are very, very destructive. And ultimately, from what I've read, they destroy themselves. And we're seeing this with John almost on repeat. So when you ask me, is John going anywhere? No, he's not. He's going to do it again. He's going to get involved in something. In fact, the only way John goes anywhere is if he actually makes a video that has nothing to do with drama and it takes off. And that'll keep him in a completely different direction for YouTube, and he'll no longer have contact with the commentary community or anybody that does drama or something like that. That's the only thing that's going to get him out. He's going to do it again. I mean, look at what he wrote just days before this was released. I stand by my statements that I've made. I know that I've told the truth. Dishonest people who have vendettas against me have twisted the narrative on purpose. No, they haven't. If you believe them without a second thought, that's on you. Well, I can show where you're lying. I'll read it again. I've seen so many tweets of people saying the most outrageous stuff that clearly isn't true, and people believing it out of blind hatred. These individuals are all insane, lack basic critical thinking skills. Again, John's never offered any kind of evidence that he did not partake in this. And the only thing that's leaked is he initially said that he had nothing to do with it, but saw it. Then he said he edited a couple things, and now it looks like he wrote the document. Let's just be honest here. He wrote the document. He's the adult in this situation. He's the one dealing with 15-year-olds. And he has the command of the English language. I wish my grammar was as good. His stuff is so easy to read. I wish my grammar is as good as his. He's the adult in the situation. He's ultimately 100% responsible. These Google Docs never go right. They're bad ideas, and none of you people out there are cops, and it's not your job to be the P-word police, all right? Can you get it? All right. I made this video because I think there's going to be a lot of pressure for me to make this stream. This is my statement. It's funny. It's sick and a little bit sad. And I'm not saying that because I'm no buddy of John. I've seen a lot of people write me, wow, you're right. You're right. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. Well, yeah, I was right years ago, for sure. I just saw the pattern in the behavior. I think what happened was people blinded themselves because of their own personal relationship. People do that. When your friend screws up, you try to look for the good in them. You try to be forgiving. That's understandable. That's healthy. But people like John don't. They just keep doing it. Whereas your friend that made a mistake might have actually some guilt. Or at very least not do something to put himself in the same position. John's incapable of that. And there you go. There it is. My insanity and my lack of being able to think critically. Have a good one, everybody.